There's a moment, quiet and unannounced, where something inside you just stops. Not out of failure, not out of weakness, but because you're simply tired of holding everything together. You've been pushing, trying to make life bend to your plans, trying to force answers out of silence. And it's exhausting, isn't it? But then, without warning, you just let go. Not with drama, not with a breakdown. You just exhale and everything shifts. It's weird how life works like that. When you stop forcing it, when you stop running around trying to control every piece, suddenly things begin to move again. Not because you pushed harder, but because you finally got out of the way. Letting go isn't weakness. It's a quiet kind of strength. The kind that says, I don't need to chase anymore. I trust what's already mine. And once you reach that place where you're no longer chasing life like it's running away from you, you start to notice something. Life was never trying to avoid you. It was waiting for you to calm down long enough to receive it. You see, most people spend their entire lives in fight mode, not just against the world, but against time, against others, against themselves. They wake up in a hurry, chase goals in a panic, and fall asleep with tension still buzzing in their chest. And the strangest part? They think this is how it's supposed to be. But look closer. That urgency, that obsession with being in control, it doesn't come from clarity. It comes from fear. Fear of being left behind. Fear of not being enough. Fear that if you don't keep everything in your grip, it'll all fall apart. But here's what nobody tells you. Life isn't a machine you need to control. It's a rhythm you need to sync with. And just like with music, the more you tense up, the more offbeat you become. You lose the timing. You miss the cues. You try to speed up what's meant to unfold slowly. Real peace, the kind that doesn't vanish when you close your eyes. That comes when you stop needing to fix the moment, when you stop asking life to be something else, when you stop trying to hold water in your hands and finally let it flow through your fingers. And that's where the magic begins. That's where things start showing up for you. People, ideas, moments, all without being chased. Not because you gave up, but because you aligned yourself with how things really move. You became the calm center in the middle of chaos. And that's when life finally starts responding. Here's the truth most people never hear. Letting go isn't weakness. It's not giving up. It's the quiet decision to stop holding yourself hostage to outcomes you were never supposed to control in the first place. Because the more you cling to certainty, the more life slips through your hands. You start micromanaging every little detail, every conversation, every moment, every delay, as if the universe is some broken machine you need to fix. But life isn't broken. It's just not on your schedule. And here's where it gets real. The moment you truly let go, you stop living in resistance. You stop waking up with the pressure of needing to make things happen. And instead, you begin noticing what's already happening. Opportunities that were always there. Signals you used to miss. Clarity that feels effortless. You're not lazy. You're not passive. You're just finally moving with life, not against it. Because the funny thing is, when you're so focused on controlling the path, you forget to trust the intelligence behind it. The pauses, the detours, the closed doors, they weren't mistakes. They were redirects. They were quiet whispers telling you, you don't need to push so hard. You're still being led. And when you realize that, you start showing up differently. You become calm, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally understand. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your own. And when you stop trying to control everything, something unexpected happens. Your presence becomes magnetic, not because you're chasing validation, not because you're trying to be the best version of yourself 24/7, but because people can feel it. They can sense that you're not operating from fear anymore. You're not in survival mode. You're not grasping or pleasing or approving. You're simply being. And that kind of energy, it creates safety. It creates gravity. It pulls people in. Not because you're performing, but because you're finally aligned. And that alignment is powerful. When you're forcing life, you're in your head, overthinking, overanalyzing, planning every word before it's said. But when you trust life, you drop back into your body. You start to notice your own breath again. You listen instead of react. You speak from calm, not from urgency. And that shift alone, it changes how people respond to you. Suddenly, you're not chasing attention. It finds you. You're not demanding love. It flows towards you. Because when you stop forcing your way through life, You become someone who moves through life with depth, someone who knows that silence can say more than noise, that waiting isn't wasted time, that being grounded in yourself is the most attractive energy there is. So many people exhaust themselves trying to be liked, trying to control outcomes in their relationships, careers, even healing, and they miss the point entirely. The less you need to force, the more life flows in the direction that was always meant for you. But you can't fake that trust. You have to build it moment by moment, by sitting in uncertainty without trying to escape it, by being okay with not knowing and still moving forward anyway. That's the path. And while it's not loud or dramatic, it's the only one that leads you back to yourself. As you begin living from this place of trust instead of tension, you'll notice something else. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from quiet. When you stop forcing life, your inner world finally has the space to speak. Not in loud, obvious ways, but in subtle shifts, in gentle nudges, in that calm knowing you feel when something just aligns without explanation. You've probably felt it before. That soft pull toward a decision that doesn't make sense on paper but somehow feels right in your chest. Or that peace that shows up the moment you decide to let go of something you were clinging to. That's the voice of clarity. But it doesn't shout. It only shows up when you've stopped making noise. Most people drown out that voice, not because they want to, but because they've been conditioned to fight their way through life, to hustle, to grind, to think their way through every scenario until they've outsmarted the unknown. But here's the truth. The unknown isn't your enemy. It's your ally. It holds everything your mind can't predict, but your heart already feels. And the moment you stop trying to conquer it, you start to co-create with it. That's where life begins to unfold differently. You walk into rooms with less fear. You make choices that feel lighter. You stop chasing signs and start becoming one, because you've built trust, not just in life, but in yourself. And from that space, you don't need to force clarity. You receive it. You don't need to force success. You align with it. You don't need to force connection. You attract it through presence, through peace, through the way you carry yourself when you no longer carry everything else. That's the energy shift people can't put their finger on, but they feel it the moment you walk in. And you'll feel it too, when you stop asking life to hurry up and start allowing it to meet you where you are. And once you start embodying this trust, not pretending, not forcing it, but really living it, you'll begin to notice something else. The world starts to mirror back a different version of you. People respond to your energy before they respond to your words. And when your energy is no longer rooted in desperation, tension, or caught needing to prove something, you become magnetic in a way that can't be explained, only felt. You see, control is a language that whispers insecurity. It says, I don't trust what's coming, so I need to shape it myself. But surrender is not passive, it's powerful. It says, I trust that what's meant for me is already moving toward me. I don't need to chase it, only receive it when it arrives. And that energy, it changes everything. It's the calm confidence that makes people feel safe around you. It's the quiet depth that makes others want to lean in. It's the peace in your eyes that tells someone, even without words, that you've seen life's chaos and you didn't let it break you. You let it build you. And now you're not clinging to life. You're flowing with it like a river that's done trying to outrun the current and instead becomes part of it. This is why the moment you stop seeking, stop trying to fix, chase, earn, or control, you start experiencing life through a new lens. You begin to receive more support from unexpected places. You cross paths with people who feel like alignment, not effort. You start feeling like time is working with you, not against you. And it's not magic, it's not luck. It's what happens when your nervous system shifts out of fear and into trust. When your energy says, I'm okay, even here, even now. The universe says, good, let's show you how okay you really are. This isn't just a mindset, it's an energetic invitation. And the more you live in that space, the more the right things, not just anything, start arriving without force. So, let's talk about something most people overlook. What happens to your clarity when you stop forcing outcomes? Because here's the paradox. When you're chasing something too hard, your vision gets blurry. You're so focused on what should happen, you miss what is happening. Opportunities don't vanish when you're forcing. You just don't recognize them. Your mind's busy filtering everything through control. Every conversation becomes a negotiation. Every quiet moment feels like failure. Every delay becomes personal. But when you stop gripping so tightly, a strange thing begins to occur. You start seeing clearly again. You start hearing what's actually being said, not through the filter of insecurity or expectation, but through presence. You notice subtle signs you would have missed. You respond rather than react. And from that space, your decisions become quieter, yet smarter, more aligned, more rooted. This is why people say, when I stopped caring so much, everything worked out. It's not that they gave up. It's that they stopped making decisions from fear, from a place of lack, from the illusion that if they didn't do everything, nothing would happen. But here's the truth. Things were already happening. They just weren't listening. When you slow down internally, your outer world doesn't stop. It synchronizes. It starts to match your new pace. You get better results, not because you're doing more, but because you're aligned while doing less. And that's the real power of surrender. It brings you back into rhythm with the moment. Not the story in your head, not the anxiety in your chest, but the moment. And the moment always knows what you need more than your overthinking ever could. Now, here's where things get even more surprising. When you stop forcing, you don't just gain clarity, you gain power. Not the loud, ego-driven kind of power, but quiet, unshakable inner power. The kind that comes from knowing you don't need to chase. You become the one who draws things in instead of running after them. And this changes everything. Because when you operate from trust, you stop over-explaining. You stop begging for signs. You stop looking to the outside world to constantly reassure you. Instead, your energy speaks first. People feel the calm in your presence. They notice your patience, your steadiness, and that's magnetic. Not because you're trying to be, but because most people are trapped in urgency. And you're not. You've broken free from the noise. You're not running around proving your worth. You're not manipulating timelines just to feel in control. You're allowing life to unfold. And by doing that, you're making space for better things to actually reach you. Because here's the secret. The right moments, the right people, the right opportunities. They're never impressed by someone who's desperate to force. They respond to someone who's ready to receive. And readiness doesn't look like effort. It looks like stillness. It looks like quiet confidence. It looks like you living your truth without needing applause. So every time you feel that itch to control again, breathe. Remind yourself that stillness is not weakness. It's a deeper kind of action, one that takes more strength than the hustle ever did. And in that stillness, you become available to what's meant for you, not just what you were trying to force. The truth is, when you stop seeking, everything really does start flowing. Not because you gave up, but because you finally stepped out of your own way. You weren't meant to chase. You were meant to trust. And if this message spoke to something deep in you, drop the word flow in the comments. Let it be your reminder to return to ease, to trust life again, and to allow what's meant for you to find you. If you're ready for more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And thank you for being here. Truly, your energy matters, and it's felt. We'll see you in the next one.